Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come out. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to your playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that.
So Lusaka has received some rain after a long time. If you are aware, you know that Zambia is experiencing a dry spell in terms of rainfall patterns. The country has not had rains the past pretty much closing up on a month or so. So most of the farmers around the country have been crying around out loud to say that their crops are dying because of no rains. So earlier on, if you remember, President Hakainde Hichilema held a meeting with the clergy where he was praying for good rainfall patterns and stuff related to that. And there's even a video that's circulating online where the president was saying that it's going to rain soon. But apparently also Edgar Lungu's camp says, because the rains have fallen today, he was at a church at Praise Christian Center with Bishop Ngambia and his wife. That's where he congregated. He went with GBM and a bunch of other individuals from his camp, Kiven Luwinda and people like that. So Smart Ego says, Edgar Chagalungu prays and it rains, meaning that he's the person behind the rains, just propaganda. So they say Praise Christian Center Bishop Dr. Edgar Ngambi led the congregation, which included Zambia's 60th President Edgar Chagalungu in prayers for rains. And at the Praise Christian Center in PHI this morning, Zambia experienced erratic rainfall, which led to crop failure in most parts of the country. After sincere prayer from the congregation, several parts of the nation have received rains this evening. God has heard the cries of his humble servant. So they say. It was just predicted. But anyway, you can see the UPND are claiming the rainfall. The PF camp is also claiming the rainfall. Anyway, it's just politics at the end of the day. It's just politics. While Simon Moore was responding to the same call for Edgar Lungu to stay into politics. So he said, could someone please explain the word tenure to the 60th president, Edgar Lungu, to the 60th and former President Lungu? He does not seem to understand that his chance has passed. Someone new has taken over, and there's coming a time in the future when someone else will one day take over from Hakainde Hichilema. It's called tenure. So simply saying Edgar Lungu should read the atmosphere and smell the coffee. His time of politics is done. Let him leave the stage because his tenure of office has passed. That's Simon Moore giving his 2 cents with that regard. What is Brian Apunda? If you remember Brian Apunda, he was a media personality in the PF camp. I think he was even deputy ambassador to one of the countries. I just can't remember which one. But ever since Edgar Lungu left office, he changed camp. He moved into socialist. So he's now a socialist under Fred Membe. So he put up this post just when the president was leaving the country, President Hakainde Hichilema. He says, this is Brian Punda's post. He says, so he's back to the skies, this time around up north in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Yes, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and most African presidents, Uganda, Botswana, Tanzania, Kenya, and South Africa, send their vice presidents and foreign affairs ministers to represent them because this is just a normalization of the AU summit. Notably of interest is this, this happens to be the 68th international trip, and out of the 68 international trips, that he has undertaken in 2 years of being in office. His vice president only acted once as president in his absence. Yet, one of the vice president, Mtaina Rumango, is ever in the country, but he will not leave her to act as president every time he leaves the country. On every occasion, the president leaves Zambia, he appoints my tribal cousin, his defense minister, Ambrose Rufuma. That's Brian Apunda saying. What could be the problem between the president and the vice president? Is it trust issues between them? Firstly, he will not delegate her to undertake international trips on his behalf, and let alone, even when he takes the international trips himself, he will not leave her to act as president. When I look back, this woman, Mtaina Rumango, is responsible for having taken the UPND up north. She pushed the political penetration of Hakainde, Hichilema, and the UPND in the Bemba region and northern circuit. And yet, things look to, and the way things look to them, it's very visible that she is not having it easy with her president. She is totally overshadowed and being sidelined by her boss. I am sure, had it not been for the constitutional provision of running mate, which now offers security to the tenure of office of the vice president, should have been dropped a long time ago. So he says, during this recent trip, Mtaina Rumango was not acting president, it was the defense minister, that's Brian Apunda. He goes further to say, this is just a couple of hours ago when he put up this post. He says, Brian Apunda, when we had a strong men and women in government and strong institutions of government from the from UNIP, MMD and PF governments, when the Republican president is leaving the country, be it on an official duties or private business, the Minister of Foreign Affairs would issue statement informing the nation of the president's overseas trips, detailing the purpose of the trip and when the president is expected to return home. On the same day the president leaves the country, the Minister of Information and Chief Government spokesperson would also inform the nation on who is acting president, for obvious government reasons and public transparency. However, nowadays, the nation is left in the dark guessing who the acting president is, and there is no official statement from government as to who is acting president. Perhaps it is important for government at this time to inform the nation why our honor, the Vice President Mtaina Rumango, does not act as president when president is out of jurisdiction. So he doubled down on that post to insist to say Mtaina Rumango was not left to act as Republican president in the absence of Hakainde Hichilema. Obviously, someone in his comment section, Robson Jr. Mambo says, Brian Apunda, so why were you peddling lies about the acting president? What is President Hakainde Hichilema was away in Ethiopia? And then she says, tune into Costa. So on that program, Mtaina Rumango made it clear to say she was the acting president on that particular, during the absence of the president when he was in Ethiopia. And then Brian Apunda responds to Robson Mambo saying, you know that this propaganda is firefighting. The defense acted as president till the president returned home this evening. Ask your connections in the system. So he seems to have better information. He says he knows better. The person that was acting president was the defense minister, not Mtaina Rumango. While the president is now back in the country, he put up this post. We wish to inform you that we have returned home from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where we had gone to attend the 37th ordinary session of the African Union Heads of States and Government. We are grateful for the continued support and prayers, even amidst the challenges. We return steadfast, such that every step we make is best for the interests of the country and Africa as a whole. May God bless you all. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. So the president is back from Ethiopia. What is this interview that was highly anticipated, where Mtaina Rumango was interacting with Costa? Pretty much it was a debate format. He was asking her questions. So Chief Edgar says, did you watch this evening's interview or your comments? And people, the Kwacha magazine says it was a 10 out of 10, meaning she addressed most of the issues. So people rated that particular magazine rated the interview to be a 10 out of 10. All these others also give their views over. Betha says, best interview, intelligent woman, she handled it well. That is Betha's response to that. And Alfonso Ronald says, I still hold it true on behalf of, so she would have done exceptionally well had she called for a press briefing and than an interview. Reason being, most of the instances, she is not answering the question, but went to advance the party in government kind of an agenda. The interview took away so much from the integrity of the leader, exposed her to being a politically irrelevant. So that's another view from that particular individual. Let me give you more responses from the people. What is Ray also says, there was the straightforward questions, and I like the way that she answered it. Questions that didn't, she answered the questions, do with whether the government is pro poor or not. And then she said the response, and then he highlights, says the government, the UPND government is the pro-poor government. She said with these examples, the introduction of the CDF, introduction of meal allowance to poor students, introduction of free education to the poor. Their priority is to help the poor stabilize, stabilizing of fuel, and I feel should have added more increment of social cash transfer and the beneficiaries. So you can see mixed reactions with regard to that particular interview. And then Simon Moore says, Zambians, can you please ask the Vice President tough questions, not to my phone calls to her, hi, Vice President, how are you? I just wanted to contribute. Iwe, ask her a question. So Simon Moore was like, you Zambians, you complain a lot about things, and then when you're given the opportunity to interact with the leaders, instead of you asking tough questions, you are left with greetings and stuff like that. No one wants to hear that. And then obviously someone doubles down. Harold says yes. And then afterwards, when she leaves the interview, they start complaining, and then they just laugh it off. And then obviously, let me just read you some of the extracts, like the highlights from the particular interview and the interaction between Costa and the Vice President. And then the Vice President says, life did not start in 2021. Vice President Lumanga, where she was explaining to say the situation that the country is going through cannot just be attributed to the UPND government, because the Edgar Lungu camp and the PF left the government in a bad state as compared to they are handling the situation better. In short, that's what she was explaining there. We are hopeful that the dry spell will not lead to national food crisis. That's another thing she talked about. But Lusaka experienced some rains after that interview, during that interview. And then also another thing she said, we do not overpromise Zambians. Our manifesto has been a guiding principle. Free education and equitable CDF are some of our gains, the Vice President highlights. But not all citizens are crying over the cost of commodities such as maize, because they are producers. People of Mwense and Kaputa, she gives them as an example to say not everyone is going through a bad situation. When we are talking about Huawei in opposition, the situation was not as bad as it is now. Or it's not as bad as now. So she simply says the situation is worse there. I don't know what she meant by that, but yeah, that's not a good look for the UPND if the Vice President can say that. And then what else she did say? Hold on, things will be well, Vice President Mitalena Lomango. By the end of the year, Mopani will bring $1.5 billion. She says, we are not responsible for the global situation, which has pushed the cost of oil. So more. The economy was dead. We are struggling to bring it up. But the situation is rough, but people must hold on. Yeah, and then obviously Savoy Boy has been summoned by the police. So this says United Culture Alliance member and NDC President Savoy Imboela to appear before police service headquarters today at 10 hours. And then the reasons for the summon are not yet known and have not been disclosed. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. That's the news, ladies and gentlemen.
Visit my YouTube channel. Make sure you click on the subscribe button, you click on the notifications to get the notifications of every video that I upload. I try to upload every week, sometimes every day of the week, but definitely each week you expect a video. So make sure you click on the subscribe, like this video, and there is much more on the playlist. So visit the channel and see you around.